Couch Talk. I don't know how that'll go, but I had a topic that was on my heart, and because this one is a little bit closer to the emotions, I figured maybe we should just kind of have a chat, keep it a little informal, and just talk a little bit. And if I can be someone's rainbow on a cloudy day, or to bring a little bit of sunshine maybe with my story, I hope that I could do that. So as you probably saw from the title, I'm going to talk about IVF. Now, some people might feel like that might be too personal of information. However, I've done a lot of speaking about it. I've even gotten the opportunity to go and lobby on Capitol Hill for certain bills that they wanted to pass regarding fertility measures, being able to allow families to have insurance and forwarding it, having military veterans being able to use the surgery when they have been wounded in battle. We've come a long way to where we are now, but over time we've had a lot of things that were not necessarily catching up with where we were as a society. So, but this was many years ago. I'm still involved, but haven't done as much work in the past year. I had a fertility journey myself. It was my platform when I was Mrs. New York. And the reason it was our platform, and I say ours because it really was a battle that my husband and I walked through. But Jeremiah and I, just going into almost the 4th year of marriage, still were not successful in being able to grow our family, though we wanted to. I had been through 3 surgeries, some extensive. I can show photos. I mean, some of them are very graphic. And but at one point in time, right after we got married, I contacted my doctor. And I said, you know, sir, you're kind and you've been taking care of me for all these years that I was unmarried, and we have been battling the cysts that exist in my ovaries, but I'd like to get a second opinion and I'd like to see a specialist. And I'll be honest, at first he might have been a little caught off guard because he thought he was handling it and it was great, but I just needed a second opinion. And if someone else is out there and going through that, a young woman, please have the confidence to know that it's your body and that you can make those decisions to change yourself. He actually, you know, after a little bit of reluctancy, did let me know that he had an idea of someone that I could go to. And so I went to this gentleman and we had an appointment, and he said, well, in my time, I find that an MRI is a better indicator to show us what is going on internally. So he said, let's scratch all these ultrasound pictures I'm looking at, and I'm not going to do an ultrasound. I'm going to go straight to an MRI. So I want you to go to this appointment and have an MRI. The day after the MRI, it was actually a Sunday, he called and he said, so I want you to be on my next surgery routine, and I'm going to do surgery on you because you have 19 cysts and fibroids that I can count. And they are encroaching upon your organs and taking over some of the zones that I think could be a problem for you further down the line. So let's go in and do this. And I turned to Jeremiah and said, okay, I guess we're having surgery. And I asked what the recovery time was. And he had given us some information and we were able to move forward. Needless to say, I had a 2-hour surgery that was scheduled for 2 hours that turned into 6 hours because some of the cysts and the fibroids had adhered themselves to organs and some of my intestines, and so they had to kind of really take their time to get these things off. So I had a lot of blood loss, which didn't help my almost pre-anemia situation already, so now I am anemic, but I still haven't even recovered from that. But they decided not to do a blood transfusion, and I'm okay with that. I mean, it's just something I've dealt with my whole life. But anyway, so after the surgery, I had recovered, and then they said we're going to try again, and we did IUIs, and those weren't successful. Then we did a cycle of IVF, and that was not successful. But we did 2, well, you buy one, you get buy a fresh, get a frozen free. So we did a frozen one, and they were reluctant to do the frozen one because I had only had 1 embryo left at that point. At least earlier they tried 3, and this time they were trying 1. And they said maybe we shouldn't try. And I said, you know, I feel good about it. I prayed about it, and I said, let's go. I really feel like, you know, we have this 1 egg. They said it looked viable, and so we went forward with it. And Jeremiah always tells this story about when they walked into the room to do the embryo transfer, where they put the embryo in. And he said, "This looks like a fine egg." And Jeremiah was like, "You sure?" And Mr. Personality. And he said, "Yes, it's a fine egg." And I've always just had a sense of peace about it when we were going through the process, that if we were meant to grow our family and that was God's will, that it was going to come to pass. I always wanted to be a mom. And so we did the embryo transfer. I'm very reserved, though. I don't let my expectations and emotions get too high, because you can get let down. But we went home and everything was fine. And they kind of go through that 2-week wait. You have to wait. And I remember we were just going about life as usual. And then I got a call, and we were getting a bed delivered at the same time. That's why I'm always going to remember when I got that bed. And I was kind of helping and moving a mattress, and I was like in the middle of something. I really couldn't even like get out of the room, and there was 2 movers, and they were bringing in this king size big bed, and everybody was struggling. And I said, "Oh, I gotta take this call." And he was like, "Ma'am," and I was like, "I gotta take this call," because of course I had it on caller ID. And they said that you were pregnant. And I was like, "Are you sure? Maybe we could take another test. We've had some time before it wasn't." And she's like, "No, ma'am, I'm sure you're pregnant." And I remember putting down the phone. And after 4 years of going through this, hearing those words, I don't think I was ready. I was ready for that. I think that IVF is something that takes your emotions, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. It takes your emotions through so much. I mean, there's so many ups and downs, and not to mention the part that I probably find the most problems with is the hormonal trips, because you are constantly giving yourself hormones and giving yourself an up and a down, and that's not the purpose, but that's what it did to me. I'm already a very sensitive person, so all of these hormones is the part that gets me. And I struggle with those feelings and those emotions that I have when I'm going through this process. And if that's you as well, just know it's not you. It's not anything wrong with you. It's just that you need to realize that it's the medication, that it's not you, that you will be okay, that don't try to make any major life decisions. I realize that. And don't beat yourself up, because it'll be okay. It really will be. It's just a period of time and things settle back down. But the emotions is the part that really get to me. And it just seemed like it was just so encompassing. And that on top of the fact that there's just so many ups and downs, and you're getting a transfer and you're hoping for the best, and then it doesn't go well, and then you're back again, and then you're trying it again, and you're trying it over and over again just to get to these zones. And my personality is the type where I'm reserved. I don't share. I'm like that duck where on top of the water everything is calm, but underneath my legs are doing this, and that's what's going on. My stomach is churning all the time. My heart is always going. If that's you, please comment below, because some days I'm just like, I must be the only one. Like I just is crazy what I'm feeling right now, but it's okay. You're not alone. If you think it's only you, I'm one of those too. And so with that, all throughout all of the steps of the process, everyone, I was helping other people. People would Facebook me, message me, direct message, and need inspiration and hope. And I am always there for that. Please, if I can be that for you, reach out to me and I'll share more of my story. But it's hard. It's a hard journey, and I don't take it for granted. I want to say I don't envy, or I don't hate, or I don't, it's a lot of words. I'm trying to figure out the right word to say. But there's so many people out there who can conceive naturally, conceive when they don't want to, conceive when it's an accident. And there's some of us where it's such a struggle and it's so difficult. I remember Quick memory. I remember that I went to a church in Rochester, New York before we moved, and they would celebrate Mother's Day, and it was big. And they always said, you know, even if you're not a natural mother, that you're a mother to so many. And I know I was a coach, and I was a grad advisor, I was a mother figure to a lot of people. But still, I felt that ache. That May just was an achy time for me. And I want you to feel encouraged. I know May is coming, and that there may be people out there feeling the same way and might be struggling. Know that nothing's wrong with you. Know that it's not a bad thing. You didn't do something bad. I used to think that I do something bad in my youth, and I wish I'd treated relationships differently or made different decisions. But I realized you can't change the past. And I realized that we are all important, we're all special, we're all beautiful, and we have a path to live. And we can't always all have the same path, and that we all have to live on this planet, and we are on this big rock. I read today, we're all sitting on this big rock that's constantly spinning, and this is life, and we're all gonna leave it someday. And we just have to be okay with who we are and take deep breaths. That's why I make this video. Like I was saying, there's going to be hard days and there's going to be good days. And you might not always have things the way you want them to be. And know that we're all special and unique and here on this earth for a reason. And if we don't get to be someone's mother by birth, there's so many children out there who can be adopted. There's so many people in our community that can be loved on. There's so many people within our workplaces, within our places of worship, within the community around us where we can serve as mothers. And there's so many women out there who have served as mothers to me. And even now, I don't want to get into this, but even now as I walk through this life without my mom here on this earth, there's so many people who are still so dear to me. And so I just want you to know your worth and who you are matters to so many, whether you feel like it or not. And giving birth, though I have been blessed and I have this one amazing little girl, I don't take that for granted. Because the reason I wrote this, or the reason that I wanted to talk about this, is you might be successful and you might not be. So we had Hazel Gray, as you've all seen her, and she's quite special. I always thought that I was supposed to have a house full of kids. Now, maybe God didn't want me to have 19. If you know, one of my favorite shows, 19 Kids and Counting. But I really thought I'd have more than one. And as we have decided to go through a second round of IVF, we haven't been able to be successful. We've done a number of rounds. I've spent 6 months at a time going through cycles for IVF and not been successful. And I get angry. I get sad. I get disappointed. But I still find contentment in knowing that I have purpose, I have drive, I have this beautiful little girl, I have a place on this planet, and I'm supposed to be here for a reason. And we don't always know what that reason is. And so I walk through the next 5 minutes, and I do that terrifically and strong. And I'll tackle the next 5 minutes when I get there. Because I don't know what the future is going to hold. And I don't know how it's going to all end at the end of the story. I just know that I want to have a good story. I want it to end and say, she did great. She did good. Or that Hazel Gray can look back and say, you were a great mom. You've probably looked at the title of this series, and then also up here, it's kind of an acronym of my name that I've kind of carried through the years. And it's about teaching you how to live life I want to help you seek happiness audaciously. Audacious means going after something with all you got, strong, bold, on fire. And whatever that thing is that you're going after, whether it's IVF, whether it's a job, whether it's the next step, find happiness in it. Find joy. And if this channel and if my presence can do that for you, then you're helping me live my purpose. And I thank you. I thank you for watching, and I thank you for being a part of my life at this time when I really sincerely need it. So, thank you for watching, and be inspired and be great. Live audaciously. Bye-bye.